Your child runs up with a drawing, just scribbles on paper. Without thinking, you smile and say, "Good job, you're so smart." Stop right there. You think you're building confidence, but actually, you're feeding an addiction. You're teaching them to crave the applause rather than the effort. Science shows this exact phrase is killing their internal motivation. You aren't bad for doing this, but you need to stop. Give me 10 minutes, and I will change the way you speak to your child forever. I know exactly why you do it. You praise to encourage. You praise to connect. You praise because you vowed to be warmer than the generation that raised you. You want your child to feel invincible. But there is a dark side to this constant stream of "good job." We are accidentally raising a generation of approval junkies. When a child is trained to look for your reaction every time they pick up a crayon, they stop looking inward. They learn that their worth is tied to external validation. They learn that the drawing doesn't matter. The applause does. We think we are building self-esteem, but we are actually building a fragile ego that needs an emotional crutch to stand. And this is dangerous. Picture this. Your child is 18. They've left your house. They hand in their first college paper or finish their first project at work. The boss doesn't say, "You're so smart." The professor gives them a C without a smiley face. What happens? They don't just fail. They collapse. Because the moment the applause stops, their identity evaporates. They become terrified of challenges. They refuse to try anything new because they are petrified of losing that label of being the smart kid. This isn't confidence. It's anxiety disguised as achievement. I'm not asking you to take my word for it. I want you to look at the data. Let's go back to 1998. Stanford professor Carol Dweck conducted a study that shook the foundation of child psychology. She took hundreds of fifth graders and gave them a nonverbal IQ test. They all did well. But here is where the paths diverge. The researchers praised the children in one of two ways. The first group heard, "Wow, that's a really good score. You must be smart at this." The second group heard, "Wow, that's a really good score. You must have worked hard at this." One sentence, 7 words. Intelligence versus effort. Then, Dweck offered them a choice. They could take a harder test to learn something new, or an easy test, just like the first one. The results were terrifying. The children praised for being smart overwhelmingly chose the easy test. They rejected the challenge. Why? Because you gave them a label. Smart is a status they have to maintain. If they took the hard test and failed, they wouldn't be smart anymore. So they played it safe. They chose to stop growing to protect your validation. The children praised for effort. 90% chose the harder test. They didn't care about looking perfect. They cared about becoming better. They viewed the challenge not as a threat, but as an opportunity. But it gets worse. Dweck then gave everyone a test that was impossible to solve. The smart kids crumbled. They assumed they weren't smart after all. Their confidence vanished the moment the easy wins stopped. Some of them even lied about their scores to hide their failure. They became fragile. The effort kids? They didn't see failure. They saw a puzzle. They enjoyed the struggle. They said things like, "This is my favorite test." This is the difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. When you praise talent, you create fear. You build a prison where your child is terrified of making a mistake. When you praise the process, you create power. You give them the keys to unlock their own potential, regardless of the outcome. Let's look at the mechanism here. Why is a positive phrase like "good job" so toxic? It comes down to one thing: judgment. When you say "good job," you are positioning yourself as the judge and your child as the performer. You are implicitly saying, "My love is conditional on your performance." You are the audience, they are the actor on stage. And an actor is always terrified the audience will stop clapping. Think of it this way. Good job is emotional fast food. It's sugary. It's delicious. It gives your child an instant spike of dopamine. They smile. You smile. It feels like love. But it is empty calories. It doesn't sustain them. It creates a hunger that can only be filled by the next compliment, and the next. Real confidence, the kind that survives failure, needs a different diet. We call this process praise. This is the slow-cooked, nutritious meal. It takes more time. It requires you to pay attention to details, not just the result. It requires you to notice the struggle, the strategy, the focus. It's harder for you to give, but it builds the emotional muscle your child needs to survive in the real world. So, I'm not asking you to be cold. I'm not asking you to withhold love. I am asking you to change the menu. I am asking you to stop feeding them empty calories and start nourishing their nervous system, because eventually, they will have to face the world without your applause. And when that day comes, they need to know their worth isn't tied to a score, a trophy, or a good job. You are ready to change the menu. But I know exactly what you are thinking. You're thinking, if I stop saying good job, what do I say? Do I just say nothing? No. Silence is not the answer. Connection is the answer. I am going to give you a simple framework to replace the good job reflex. It is called the process praise formula. It consists of 3 specific shifts: describe, ask, effort. Let's roleplay this so you can see exactly how it lands. Scenario 1. The drawing. Your child runs up to you with a page full of scribbles. The old instinct screams at you to say, "Wow! Beautiful!" Swallow that impulse. That is the judgment. Instead, start with describe. You look at the paper, and you simply say what you see. I see you used a lot of blue in this corner. It sounds neutral, I know. It feels awkward at first. But watch what happens. You aren't judging the art as good or bad. You are witnessing it. You are proving you actually looked at it. Then, you move to ask. Tell me about why you chose that color. Now, you have flipped the entire script. They aren't standing there waiting for your verdict. They aren't waiting for a grade. They are engaging your curiosity. You are inviting them to tell the story of their work. Scenario 2. The soccer game. They come off the field, sweaty and exhausted. The old script says, "You're a natural. You were the best player out there." That is the trap. That tells them their talent is fixed. If they have a bad game next week, they aren't natural anymore. They are a failure. Try this instead. This is the effort shift. I noticed you kept running for the ball even when you looked really tired in the second half. Do you feel the difference? You are praising the grit, not the gift. You are highlighting the variable they can control, their effort. Here is what is happening in their brain when you make this switch. When you say, "Good job," the conversation ends. Case closed. When you describe and ask, the conversation opens. You are telling their nervous system, "I am interested in your mind, not just your output. I have a challenge for you. I want you to try this script tonight. Just one time." The next time they show you a Lego tower or a homework assignment, do not evaluate it. Describe it. You built that really high. Ask about it. How did you get the bottom to stay steady? Watch their face. You won't see that quick, shallow sugar rush smile of validation. You will see something better. You will see them pause. You will see them think. You will see them look inward to answer you. That is the moment the growth mindset takes root. I know what you are thinking. Is this too cold? Do I sound like a robot? I need to manage your expectations. When you first stop the constant stream of good job, there will be a void. Your child is used to the dopamine hit. They are used to the external validation. So, for the first few days, they might look at you with confusion. They might feel a little lost. They will likely ask you directly, "But mommy, do you like it?" This is the hardest moment. Your instinct will be to rescue them, to rush in and say, "Yes, I love it, it's perfect." Don't. If you rush in, you reinforce the idea that your opinion is the only one that counts. Instead, I want you to take a breath and say this. "It doesn't matter if I like it. How do you feel about it?" It feels uncomfortable. It feels counterintuitive. But in that moment, you are doing something profound. You are gently returning the ownership of their pride back to them. You are teaching them that their own satisfaction is enough. This isn't about the drawing they made today. It is about the adult they become tomorrow. I want you to close your eyes and imagine your child at 25. They face a huge failure at work. A project collapses. A rejection comes in. Instead of crumbling, instead of thinking I am not enough, they take a breath. They look at the problem and simply say, I haven't figured it out yet. That is the gift you are giving them. Being a parent isn't about judging the outcome. It isn't about grading their performance. It is about witnessing their process. You get to be the steady ground where they learn to grow. If you are ready to make this shift, comment growth below. Let's do this together.